Mm-hmm. Hello and welcome to our show Outline. But first, here's the latest update from our newsroom. A 57-year-old expat has died in the Sultanate after contacting coronavirus, the Ministry of Health announced. This is the 26th death recorded in Oman due to the novel coronavirus. The officials at the ministry extended their deepest condolences to the family of the deceased. The Ministry of Health on Tuesday announced the registration of 292 new coronavirus cases in the country. 119 of the new cases are Omani nationals and 173 for non-Omanis, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases registered in the Sultanate to 5,671. According to the Ministry of Health, this number also includes the recovery of 1,574 patients and 26 deaths. The ministry urged everyone to adhere to strict social distancing instructions issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health, as well as staying at home and not going out unless necessary. In terms of the breakup, and starting from up north, in Musandam Governorate, we have confirmed cases of 7 with registration of no deaths, recoveries of 6, and active cases of 1. In Al Buraimi, we have confirmed cases of 59 with registration of no deaths, recoveries of 5, and active cases of 54. In North Batina, we have confirmed cases of 282 with registration of 1 death, recoveries of 126 patients, and active cases of 155. And at Dahira, we have confirmed cases of 69 with registration of no deaths, recoveries of 44 patients, and active cases of 25. In South Batina, we have confirmed cases of 429 coronavirus cases with registration of 3 deaths, recoveries of 256, and active cases of 170. In Muscat Governorate, we have confirmed cases of 4,314 with death cases of 22, recoveries of 791, while active cases stands at 3,501. In Ad-Dakhliya, we have confirmed cases of 243 with registration of no deaths, recoveries of 188, and active cases of 55. In North Sharqiya, we have confirmed cases of 39 with registration of no deaths, recoveries of 34 patients, and active cases of 5. In South Sharqiya, we have confirmed cases of 209 coronavirus patients with death cases with registration of no deaths, recoveries of 110, and active cases of 99. Lastly, in Dhofar, we have confirmed cases of 20 with registration of no deaths, recoveries of 14, and active cases of 6. Eid celebrations in Oman have been banned by the Supreme Committee tasked to monitor COVID-19 as part of efforts to bring down the rate of infection. Those who do not follow the precautionary measures put in place, which includes wearing masks where required, will be subject to fines and punishment by the Royal Oman Police. As part of a series of decisions issued by the Supreme Committee on Monday, May 18th, it announced the ban of all gatherings related to Eid, such as livestock auctions, Eid prayers, Eid greeting gatherings, and Eid group celebrations, because such assembly can spread the pandemic in the country. The Supreme Committee's decision also included authorizing the Royal Oman Police to monitor the compliance of individuals and public and private institutions, and authorizing them to directly impose the fines and detain violators of these decisions. Moving on, the Sultanate, in coordination with the Telecommunication and Information Society, plans a number of initiatives and projects, including providing more than 600 villages in the country with satellite internet in 2020. The project will be implemented in cooperation with the Ministry of Technology and Communications, the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, and telecommunications companies operating in the Sultanate, said Azza bin Suleiman Al Ismaili, Minister of Technology and Communications. The ministry organized a virtual event to mark this occasion. The event included a speech by Azza bin Suleiman Al Ismaili, in which she touched on the importance of this day, which falls on May 17. She said that this year, the day is characterized by its focus on the Connect 2030 program of the International Telecommunications Union, which is a common international vision to bridge the digital divide and harness information and communications technology in support of sustainable development plans in member countries. In addition to that, we have a list of guests joining us for the show to talk about the No Objection certificate in the country. We have got Dr. Ahmad Al-Houthi, Head of Economic Research, Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Maimuna Suleimani, Member, Oman Human Rights Commission, Licensed Supreme Court Lawyer, and Mohammed Ashrafur Rahman, Chairman, Taj International Trading and Contracting. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for the session today.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we are happy to be your guest today.
It is always our pleasure, sir. I'll start the session with Dr. Ahmad Al-Houthi, sir. Why is Oman considering doing away with the NOC at the moment?
Actually, this certificate was cancelled 5 or 6 years ago. But then we faced a lot of challenges and problems, especially in our case, where 90% of our business is SME. And the big asset of the SMEs is the labor. The knowledge of this labor, the information which they get, and therefore most of this business community, which is SME, they were facing a lot of problems where the experts was leaving their small enterprises or companies after some time, and they are starting the same business and competing them. So therefore, they start shouting that we are losing, because today if we start, for example, a barber shop, and after a while you will find another barber shop just close to them, the person who was working, the expert who was working with them, he started this business. Therefore, the cases was almost between 10,000 to 20,000 cases in the courts because of this kind of problem. Therefore, we start coming back to the NOC certificate to control the market. From that time till today, we could see the market is stable. And this is what we are looking as Chamber of Commerce. See the market is stable from all, what we call it, from the Omani laborers and the expert laborers.
So, sir, talking about the stabilization of market, what do you really mean the market has been stable since the NOC came into existence?
People was working almost 2 years with the same company or same enterprise, not changing the company or the place of work, and this keep the market stable. This is what we mean. We don't need an employee to work with a company and immediately he want to, and then he will be the main investor, not just labor, but because of the situation of the market, you will find competing with the old enterprise where he was working.
So it is mainly the competition that you're talking about that was taking place in the market before?
This is right. And we are here not talking about the non-skilled labor. We are talking, the problem is here with the skilled labor, where they have the knowledge, have the skills, and they have all information about the business, and then when they start same business, I believe this could be a problem to the SME sector.
Right, Maimuna, I'll come to you now. What do you, from human rights point of view, think about NOC?
Good afternoon, everyone, and Ramadan Kareem. Thank you for having me in your program. From a human rights standpoint, I would like to clarify a few matters. Obviously, that since the declaration of the human rights, global human rights declaration, the whole globe had to put emphasis on every aspect of our living, including the economic side of our living, social side of our living, and relate to human rights, okay? However, with the time passage, sometimes the application of human rights topics are not necessarily human rights related. Like some people would just need more support to their notion, to their interest, and then mention human rights matters in the middle as a demand of their claim. I don't find this healthy. I don't find it accurate. I don't find it legal. So this is my introduction to start with. Now, in terms of to set the facts, okay, we need first of all to understand that the law that we are talking about is part of the Royal Decree 1695, issued since 1995, and was subject to many changes, okay, depending on the market conditions, on the social and demographic changes in the Sultanate of Oman. So the residency law in Oman was out to regulate and only regulate, not to grant the status. Can I just clarify here that granting status means that, for example, they will not be the subject of giving residency to Omanis under this law. No, there will be a purpose for people being in Oman. Okay, most of the time in the discussion we're having right now is for those laborers or workers or employers who are interested to work in Oman. So there will be an agreement or an employment contract and a labor law applicable to them to supersede over the residency law. Okay, so the general law is the residency law, and the private law is the labor law and other regulation issued by Ministry of Manpower or any regulatory authority like Royal Oman Police and so forth. So we need to differentiate here between the status given to the employee. It is derived from his employment contracts. And usually employment contracts in Oman commonly are of 2 years period. And accordingly, their residency are linked to this 2 years period. So we need to understand that it is governed by the contractual relationship willingly entered between the employee and the employer.
So Maimuna, you were saying that according to the law, 2 years, like you said, that residency and contract, employment contract are linked together. So after 2 years, do you think the employees are free to choose their own employer, or do they really need the NOC?
You mean for those who are left Oman or those who are still resident in Oman?
Still resident in Oman, but they have completed their contract for 2 years.
If they have completed their 2-year contract, they are supposed to either renew with the same employer or depart, leave.
So in no way they can go for a new employment contract without getting NOC from their current employer.
No, that's not right, because we have many people who left jobs to other employers after termination of 2 years. So it's okay.
Okay.
Like,
Talking on the
NOC is given by the employer. There's no reason why after 2 years not to give him. So that's not a problem as far as I know. The only issue we are discussing right now is for those who haven't completed 2 years and want to enforce the fact that they've breached their employment contract and they want still to have NOC.
Right. Dr. Ahmed, I'll come back to you. What are some of the pressing issues or concerns that companies face with the removal of NOC?
The question for me?
Yes. Can you hear me clear?
Yes, I think. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. I'm saying, what are some of the pressing concerns the companies face with the removal of NOC?
Actually, you can't put all the situations all together. I mean, in the situation in the large, big companies different than the small and the medium enterprises, and each company is just making it from their own point of view. And we tried actually at the Chamber of Commerce to ask both sides, the SMEs and the big companies, and they refused. Actually, they want to remain Article 11, which is the needful for the NOC for any experts to leave the company. As Maimuna said, that in the first 2 years, they have actually to be in the company. As you know, there is a contract between the two parties. After the 2 years, I believe if the contract is not showing any other kind of, what you call it? There is a release, for example, so he can leave and the country, or he can shift from this company to the other. I believe that after 2 years, the new labor law will clarify that, and today most of the companies are afraid that if they train these employees, these experts, and they left from this company to the other, will be difficult for them to find the same skilled employees working again. The cost will be high. This is what I understand from them. But it is, as I said, it's different from situation to situation, from company to company.
Right, Dr. Ahmed. As Maimuna pointed out that, after 2 years, the employees are free to either leave or the employees can renew their contract. However, there are some companies who do not renew the contract and they do not even issue NOC. Why do you think that happens?
This is very little. Number of companies who do these kind of problems, I believe. Not everyone is looking at it in the same point of view. Some of them, for example, who works in the khanjar field, with making khanjar and or halwa, for example. These kind of laborers, they came from their country. They don't know the skills of this business, but then they get the skills. They know the business, and they know also the customers. So people, the owners of the companies will be afraid that to give to the employee after 2 years, because this person will start competing with them later. And we see in these cases, there was a lot of cases, especially in these kind of businesses. So, but this is not, big issue. Today we have courts where, if it's not mentioned contract, actually get his release, and I don't think it's a big. It's just a small cases, 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 10.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Mr. Rahman, I'll come to you now. What is your opinion for NOC? What do you think about NOC in the country?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me, and it's my privilege to be part of this panel discussions about NOC. What I believe, the purpose of the NOC is to ensure a long-term relationship between the establishment and the employee. The purpose has been made because of this. But I believe having NOC or without having NOC, the overall development of the business doesn't make any much difference. But prevailing NOC benefits medium and small organizations because what I believe, medium and small organizations, the organogram what they have, it's very limited. And if any sudden changes in the organogram really affects the company. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman. Dr. Ahmed, we are getting a lot of questions right now on our online platforms. And one question that came up right now, it says that do you think removal of the NOC can actually help boost the economy in long run?
I'm not actually today. You actually give your judgment on this kind of issues. It's very sensitive to target. If it's personally, I think we can release. I mean, without NOC, life will be the same, or maybe could be a little bit. Some difficulties comes here or there, but at the end it will be stable, and it is good for the foresters where they are looking to these kind of points. But in the other hand, you could find a difference between economy to economy, and this is our problem maybe in Oman, that our economy is small. We concentrate on the small and medium enterprises more than the other. It makes around 90% of our companies, which is listed in the Chamber of Commerce. So therefore, the contract between the two parties could be much easier for the
I'm sorry, Dr. Ahmed, we're losing connection with you. Hello, Dr. Ahmed. Okay, Maimuna, I'll come to you until we find a stable connection with Dr. Ahmed. After listening to all that Dr. Ahmed had to say, in your expert opinion, what do you think, if the NOC should stay or should it be removed?
Right. I must refer to the International Convention on Economic and Social and Cultural Rights, which, if we take business, it means that the business is profitable, the business is protected, the investment is stable, right? These are the factors. These factors are common for both the employer and the employee at the same time. So when is the friction happening? When the employer puts his interest, when an employee in the situation of NOC puts his interest first. So the obligations and rights are not equal or balanced, let's say. Let us agree on a new approach to this matter. Okay? The business integrity, the business sustainability, especially in situation like COVID-19 and all, okay, requires joint effort of everyone. Not to drop the ball and leave the company where you made your future, you achieved your dreams, they supported you on a maybe monthly basis to make a living, okay? And just live because you found another opportunity. First of all, it is illegal, not only under labor law only, but also under a law which is promulgated in 2014, okay, of managing and governing anti-competitive behaviors. Imagine yourself a business owner, a small business owner, like Mr. Taj said, okay? His resources are so limited, and he barely spent time to break even, and suddenly one of the employees, out of blue, beyond the contractual duration, okay, seek to leave with no reason. He breached the law, he breached anti-competitive behaviors law, which, especially if he moves to a competing business, which is so common, unfortunately, that people move with bad faith, okay, to competing businesses to clients they used to serve and make money for their own company they worked for at a certain point of time. So this brings me to the third reason why leaving the company and making all this hectic situation just because of your personal interest to move to another company, okay, which is the ethical aspect of you are forcing the employer that I must leave, I must go with no reasoning. You're breaching the contract, you're breaching the ethics, and you're breaching the anti-competitive law. Okay, so that's the first take on the matter. The second take is the decision on Article 11 to be abolished or to stay. Okay, is not left for individuals. There should be a criteria by which we set when is the employee eligible to seek to move to another business. Let me give you an example which clarifies the matter. If I am an expat who works in a private school as an English teacher, and suddenly I want to move to another firm, which is a translation firm, okay? Is there a conflict in the business? I don't think so. Should there be a problem that the person wants to move to another employer? I don't think so. So when we talk about those who are resident already in Oman and are interested in other opportunities that are not competing, not conflicting, and do not disturb the existing businesses of the employer who brought him. Like, if this particular school has exams, or teacher need to, teach the students, okay? And he resigns suddenly. He needs to allow time for replacement. So NOC issuance is not just a random matter that we put and remove from laws. Not at all. It has to be linked to the economic factors of why they are actually people are resident in Oman, is to make profit, is to make a living. If it is disturbed by quick and spam of people moving around, okay, business will definitely be affected. So this is my take in terms of whether we keep NOC or not. And by the way, importantly speaking, it is healthy to have discussions like this. I thank Times of Oman for hosting us on this topic. However, there was no official, as far as I know, no official direction of removing Article 11 or making any amendments to it. Just to be clear, I haven't heard any official discussions, consultations, and so on and so forth. If that consultation take place, then I recommend to set a criteria for Article 11 application. Those employees who just arrived to Oman for a 2 years contract, okay, should stay for the 2 years and honor their employment contract, and not come to Oman just as an access to an opportunity and then later on move to another business. What about your employer who brought you to here, who paid the cost, who got the permissions and licenses, and obviously he was not like a recruiting agent. He's a businessman who wants to make money. Don't treat him as an agent of recruiting. He is not bring you to Oman and then later on you find other opportunities and disrupt the business. The other type of criteria we need to develop is whether the NOC is required to the similar industry or a non-competing industry. If it is to a similar industry, we have an issue, because this is acting in bad faith, and it will cause anti-competitive behavior, and it will harm the employer you're working for right now. And probably most of the time, the opportunity of going to the other employer was actually created through your existing employer. The third criteria we need to set is, regardless whether the sector is not competing, okay, we need to allow time for your existing employer to get a replacement so that you can get NOC and move on to another opportunity.
That was very well said and put, Memuna. Thank you so much for such a detailed insight on your take. Mr. Rahman, I'll ask you, what do you think about the removal or staying of NOC? What do you think should be done?
As far as I'm concerned, the NOC has been implemented on 2014, if I'm not wrong. But we as a business organization members, we have experience of both. We have faced having NOC and without NOC. But I think having NOC or without having NOC, there will be any effect in the business development overall in the community. There will be no effect, I think, if NOC prevails or if NOC doesn't prevail. Overall, the situation will be, we have come to learn that how to handle these situations as far as business is concerned. So what I believe, whatever the decision comes from the higher authority will always be welcomed by the business organizations and the residents staying in the Sultanate of Oman. And what we know that whatever decisions takes by the higher authority, always for the overall benefits of the development of the economy of the Sultanate of Oman. So I think having NOC, not having NOC will make any major impact on the development of the business.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman. Dr. Ahmed, are you back with us?
Yes, sir, if you are hearing me.
Yes, I can hear you well. Dr. Ahmed, I have been asking this round of questions that what they think about NOC. Should it stay or should it be removed? What do you have to say about it?
I think I agree with Ustada Maimuna that if there is a criteria, I mean, NOC could be removed anytime. And as Mr. Rahman said, if there is a decision taken from the authority to remove the NOC, of course, I mean, everyone will have to make sure that keeping this agreement on and put some criteria where it could be fair for the both sides. And I think we are a part of this global. And if our government feels that NOC is not no need for the next period, again we have actually to concentrate on the stabilizing the market, stabilizing the economy, and it's not big issue. I believe the business community understands that we are actually doing our best to do the business among all of these challenge which is around us today with this coronavirus. Look what's happening. I mean, the big cost is paid by the companies and the enterprises, not the employees. So we have to be fair between the both parties, both sides.
Dr. Ahmed, what do you think about the impact of NOC on employees' morale? Do you think it has any kind of impact when you have employee working under the law of NOC?
Look, as I said, and I mentioned, maybe Mr. Rahman also mentioned to that, in the last 6 we didn't face that much problems between the employees and their companies. The market was stable in this case, and therefore even the courts was looking to just maybe 100 to 200 cases, where it was looking more than thousands of cases in the past. So I believe I mean, for us, we've seen the market was stable in the last 6 years because of this NOC.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Maimuna, coming to you. Has the Oman Human Rights Commission been able to intervene in the cases of expats who have been denied an NOC in extreme circumstances?
According to the records of the Human Rights Commission, okay, we haven't received any claim of unjust full withholding of NOC. Okay. In my opinion, reason be that maybe people are more legally educated that this matter is not necessarily a human right matter. Obviously, in human rights, we strike balance between the rights of all parties in the society, okay, and also the vulnerables, okay. In this regards, I would like to congratulate everyone that Oman has recently, 3 weeks ago, attested to 3 important conventions on international human rights level. Is the International Covenant on the Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, and the Convention Against the Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishments. So these are the latest international treaties that Oman has entered into in the last 3 weeks by Sultani decree. So we haven't received any complaints. However, the Commission plays an important and vital role in addressing the legal education to everyone, because it's part of your understanding of your rights is to be educated about it, okay? Like, I'll give you an example of how we can pass this through Times of Oman program tonight or today, okay? The contractual relationship, that employment contract, governing the relation between the two, okay? To breach it does not raise a human right matter. It raises a legal issue that need to be addressed through Ministry of Manpower or a court of law at employment level or commercial level if the employee is found to be the one who is in breach. Number one. Number two, the NOC is a request by an employee to the authority to accept him to be shifting to another employer, okay? In this case, we want to educate people that you need to act in good faith, okay? Your existing employer, okay, would not mind not to give you NOC if everything is fine. And you need to negotiate actually on good terms, okay, to move to the other without disturbing the business of the existing employee. So to answer your question, we haven't received any claims, okay? The reason might be people are educated, but other reason might be also that people are not aware that they can approach the Human Rights Commission. Our place is in Ghala, but due to COVID-19 situation, people can access online to the website of the Omani Human Rights Commission, ohrc.gov.om, ohrc.om, where they can lodge any complaint, any issue. But lodging a complaint doesn't mean that your matter is naturally a human right matter, okay? It might be a legal matter, and we are pleased, okay, to educate people of their legal position and to confirm to them that whether their rights are breached or they need to pursue it in a legal manner.
Thank you, Maimuna. Mr. Rahman, I'll ask this question to you now. Since the existence of NOC, you said, started in 2014, did you see any changes in the business with this exception?
As I said, to be very frank, as a business owner, we have not found any kind of changes in the development or anything kind of overall situations. But as I told you, medium establishment, medium organizations, and small organizations usually get benefited by prevailing this NOC process. Because NOC is the purpose of NOC, we have to understand is, as I told you before, it's to make a long relationship between the employee with the organizations. And the present situations with NOC or without NOC, you see, employee usually what I have seen, they bargains, they knows everything. They knows that what is the effect of, he has to work for 2 years in one organization, and he really asks for the good amount for that. There is pros and cons. He has to work for 2 years for what he knows about these things. So what I believe, by seeing the middle organizations, middle class organizations, and small organizations, prevailing NOCs usually helps them. And as I told you before, whatever the decision higher authorities takes, they usually think lots and lots about the overall economy, overall benefits for the resident in Oman, and overall benefits for the company, organizations, owners. So I believe whatever the decisions comes will be benefited for the overall business organizations and as well as for the resident of Oman.
Right. Thank you, sir. Dr. Ahmed?
Yes.
Yes. So my question is to you now. Have you ever received any suggestions from the business owners that have put forward in lieu with NOC?
Actually, we have some criteria we have mentioned to business communities here. And, something happens, and they cancel the Article 11 from the labor law. And then we have actually to use these criteria or concentrate on the contracts where it could be the best way actually to have this win-win situation, the laborers and the owners of these companies. People know that in our situation here, we had problems if we cancel the Article 11. This is because of many from the experience which they had in the past. So I'm sure that everyone is, have this behavior. They knows what will happen in the market, and they want to actually, everyone is actually looking for the stability of the market, first of all, and fairness of the business between the and the owners.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. I'll ask each one of you a message for the viewers out there. You know, people are really concerned, especially in the time of coronavirus, you know, staying at home and working from home. And is there anything that you would like to convey to them to boost their morale in this situation? Dr. Ahmed, would you like to go first?
I will congratulate everyone for Eid al-Fitr al-Mubarak, which is just a few days. And I ask everyone to take care of their health and their families. I wish all the best to all of you, safe and be happy in this Eid.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Maimuna, would you like to say something?
I join the congratulations of Dr. Ahmed to everyone around of Eid al-Fitr. But I have a message. It's an opportunity. COVID-19 is an opportunity for employers, employee to join hands, okay, to keep their business sustainable, to support each other, so that we embark into after COVID-19 situation, okay, into a better opportunities of business and sustainability. We need to be flexible, okay, with our businesses in terms of our demands and also expectations, because it benefits no one if a business is killed because of COVID-19. Rather, we need just to smoothly run through this situation until we embark into after COVID-19 month. I have a message also for the employee that you're not just a number. You're a talent. You have brains. You've been contributing to the success of the company you work for. Okay? Don't treat yourself like a number, moving around from one place to another. Okay? Have a solid plan for your future. Moving around from one employer, one company to other is not healthy, not correct, not ethical. Okay? What is ethical is to make up a plan, come up with a plan. So, for example, if you work in the design and marketing and communications sector, okay, you know that IP, which is intellectual property, is the highest risk associated to this type of business. So, obviously, the business, the employer, the company would protect their intellectual property because this is their asset. Don't be shocked or surprised or in denial or rejection of the fact that the business owners would want to protect their businesses. This is their asset.
Thank you,
If you're
Maimuna.
not interested in a longer run relationship with them, go for a shorter term. Come for express visa, which is available. Become a foreign investor under the foreign investment law, which allows even a one-person company to be established by an expert. Do that. Feel freedom. You are holding yourself and your talents hostage to a 2-year contract purposely and intentionally, while you have other legal choices to conduct business in Oman.
Thank you, Maimuna. Sorry, I had to cut you in between. We are running out of time. Mr. Rahman, could you please add something very quickly?
Yeah. I wish all the viewers in advance Eid Mubarak. Stay home, stay safe, respect the law of the land. Inshallah, better days are ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again to our esteemed guests for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us to this session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed.
Thank you. Thank you
Medina.
so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
On that note, we are going to wrap our session. Thank you for all the viewers and listeners for tuning in to our show Outline. Make sure to stay home, keep safe, and keep watching TTV.